You know the saying, the icing on the cake? You know when a good thing has something extra about it that makes it even better? Well, in this probably thought out metaphor, Tekken 7 is one tasty ass cake, but Bandai Namco sure as hell skipped on the icing. But man, does it feel good to finally talk about Tekken on my channel, for it's absolutely my go-to fighting franchise. I've been playing Tekken ever since I was about 8, and I just adore its frantic pace, its memorable characters, and its emphasis on long movesets and combos. Honestly, to me, fighters like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter feel comparatively light to me. I mean, Tekken definitely does not have that easy pick up and play style, as it has a billion different moves to learn, but its added complexity makes the experience far more rewarding for me. Not dissing on other fighters, just Tekken's where it's at. For me. Which is why I was hyped as hell for the latest iteration of the series, Tekken 7. Tekken games were already so damn good, so what can Namco bring to the table for the franchise's first foray into the 8th generation of consoles? Well, spoiler alert, not a lot, but I'll get to that. For now, let's talk about the story. Number 1. 3 hours! So Bandai Namco have adopted to the times as Tekken 7 features a fully fledged story mode called the Mishima Saga. It's pretty NetherRealm inspired in that you play through the campaign, watch a few cutscenes and swap out characters every so often. It takes place just after the events of Tekken 6 as Jin Kazuma has just defeated the demon Azazel and saved the world. But there's still the slight issue of all-out war, as the Mishima Zaibatsu, led by Heihachi Mishima, is at war with the G Corporation, led by Heihachi's son, Kazuya. Needless to say, these two do not get along as the two men try everything in their power to kill each other. There's also a powerful warrior named Akuma who wants both Kazuya and Heihachi dead himself, which in turn has Heihachi wanting him dead, and Kazuya wants Akuma dead too. Everyone wants everyone else dead, that's the basic gist here. Get it?
Got it.
Good. So first off, let's actually talk about what I like about the campaign. Firstly, the CG animated cutscenes are very well produced. I mean, I enjoy watching Heihachi kicking missiles out of the air as much as the next guy. There's a neat little story feature where move inputs are simplified. This comes in super handy as players just can't be expected to know the movesets of all these different characters you play as, so yeah, brilliant workaround of that problem. And when the final confrontation between Kazuya and Heihachi is pretty epic, and its outcome did actually surprise me. But all those points are just shining moments trying to peek through a pile of crap. Yeah, the campaign is utter shit. The major problem here are the characters. There's absolutely zero depth to them. Now, I know I'm complaining about the story in a fighting game, but bear with me, I'll get to why I'm doing this in a bit. The story in Tekken 7 just goes as follows. Exposition, action scene. Exposition, action scene. You get the point. You're given no reason to care about anyone, and if you're not already familiar with the Mishima family and the devil gene and everything, tough shit. And the way the story presents itself is just bizarre. You see, it's told from the perspective of this reporter character, who's more of an observer to what's going on, and he feels so out of place here. On top of his voice actor sounding completely bored out of his skull, he just has nothing to do with the story. He's just some random American reporter getting involved with a feud between two warring Japanese corporations? Why? Who are you? Oh, and for some reason, they never give this guy a name or have him show his face. Now, when movie shows and games do that, it's usually for the sake of a big reveal or to add mystery to the character. But this guy, there's nothing to him. He is as irrelevant a character as they come. It's honestly like if Star Wars was told from the perspective of this guy. Why would you do that? The story really should have been told from the perspective of Kazuya or Heihachi. In fact, that could lead to an interesting game dynamic, where you could play through the campaign twice, each from the other's point of view. You know, kinda like Resident Evil 4, where you could play from both Leon's and Ada's perspective. So Heihachi's campaign would have you controlling characters associated with the Mishima Zaibatsu, and Kazuya's would be from those associated with G Corporation. But storytelling problems aside, it won't really matter until Bandai Namco give their characters some personality. They have the potential. I mean, there's a glimpse of character banter with Lee and Elisa here, but for the most part, it's just angry Japanese guy number 1 versus angry Japanese guy number 2. Oh, and angry Japanese guy number 3, I guess, wants in on the action too. Oh, and you'll beat the campaign mode in about 3 hours. And they actually have the nerve to sequel bit at the end. How about making those post-game events you so proudly tease actually part of the current game? You lazy morons. I mean, I just got done playing a game that had over 100 hours of story content, and now I'm transitioning to one with just 3? I mean, I know I'm comparing an RPG with a fighting game, but still. Oh, and you know what's even worse about the campaign? The final boss. Now, I can't show footage cause spoilers, but he is the cheapest, most infuriating boss fight I've ever experienced in a fighting game. Shao Kahn, Jinpachi, Azazel, those guys are a cakewalk in comparison. And I wouldn't have minded it so much, but the guy you face will kick your ass even if you're playing on easy mode. Guys, the campaign is a bloody mess. Honestly, if it wasn't here, I wouldn't have cared. That's how bad it is. Now, granted, the story actually does restrain itself by not overburdening itself with a million characters, but I still love me some Paul and Law and King and everyone else, so what about their stories? Well, let's make a quick comparison. In Tekken games of old, this is how it worked for these guys. You start the arcade mode, you select your character, a narrator fills you in as to what's been going on with them. You make your way through 8 or so opponents, usually fighting a person of interest in the middle, where there's a short cutscene between the two to keep things interesting. You then fight a final boss like Heihachi, there might be a battle after that with another person of interest, and then you get a final cutscene to watch for all your hard work. In Tekken 7, you select your character, fight one battle, and watch a cutscene. Yeah, you heard me right. One battle. One! Yeah, these character episodes are unlocked once you beat the Mishima Saga. And at first I thought, oh, this sounds like a good idea. This could make up for the short-ass campaign. Each character could perhaps get a half-hour-long story where they fight about 8 opponents catered to them. It'd be a great upgrade from arcade modes of the past, and it would give the characters ample screen time without getting unnecessarily shoved into the main story. But no, one fight and one cutscene. Oh, and a block of text which isn't even given artwork or narration. And the cutscenes aren't any good either. They're either really lackluster or just have some really dumb comedy put in. I mean, there's a rare exception. I actually thought Lucky Chloe of all people had a pretty funny cutscene, but most are over so quickly and don't go anywhere or explain anything. Brian fights Bob. Why? Fuck knows. Law fights Feng. Why? Fuck knows. Raven's a woman now. Why? You guessed it. Fuck knows. Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking. Dude, you really expected a compelling story in a fighting game? Who gives a shit? I just want to pick my fighter and go fight some battles. Well, I would agree with you, but it's 2017. Story modes are commonplace now in fighters, and no, I'm not at all saying that all fighting games have to have story modes, but when one does so much to advertise its campaign as a major selling feature, and for it to be so bad, yeah, that's a problem. Believe me, Namco pushed this campaign mode hard. Notice how so many of the game's trailers focus on the story without even showing any gameplay. Notice how the game's box art only has Kazuya and Heihachi on it to advertise the narrative. Check out the excerpts on the game box. Tekken 7 represents the final showdown of the 20-year-long Mishima feud, unveil the monumental ending to the emotionally charged family warfare between members of the Mishima clan as they struggle to settle all scores and battle for control of a global empire putting the balance of the world in peril. Yeah, overselling it much? And the story focus becomes apparent in the game too. The intro is primarily comprised of cutscenes of the campaign, and notice how your cursor on the main menu always defaults to the story mode when you boot up the game. Namco pushed the campaign mode as the game's major selling point. And it's shit. And for those who are thinking that the arcade mode offers anything more in terms of story, it doesn't. Number 2. Tekken 7 Game of the Year Edition, coming 2018. So yeah, if you played the game, you'll know all too well how much of a joke arcade mode is. You only fight 5 battles compared to the usual 8 or so you'll find in previous Tekken games, and there's no cutscene or anything at all after you win. All you get is a big fat game over text in your face. Like, what the fuck? What kind of game tells you game over when you've won?
I get that it literally means the game is over and it's emulating the arcade, but still.
And because of this, there is absolutely zero reason to play the arcade mode. Treasure battles are by far and away more lucrative, and because the session doesn't end after only 5 battles, you won't have to keep going in and out of menus all the time. You'll seriously play arcade mode once to see what it's all about, and you'll never touch it again.
What you will be doing more of though is playing through the aforementioned treasure mode.
All it is simply one fight after another with the occasional gameplay modifier built in, like some battles are sped up and some have your attacks do double damage. Nothing crazy, I think other fighters have done this gameplay modifier thing better, and honestly I wish there was a way to disable it, as the sped up battles I wasn't a fan of.
But as you gain ranks in the treasure mode, you'll acquire gold, which is used to unlock the following.
Items to customize your fighter, PMVs and artwork from old Tekken games,
and that's it.
I mean, don't get me wrong, those are cool things to unlock. Customization is pretty deep and a lot of fun to play around with, and watching all these old Tekken PMVs all nicely packaged into one place is nice.
But there's just so much more that could have been offered here. Like gold you win from battles could be used to unlock the following.
New stages, new characters, new rage art animations, new intro and victory animations, themes and avatars for PS4, virtual console versions of old Tekken games, virtual console versions of other Bandai Namco games, and Lord forbid some more game modes.
Because unless you include practice, online and versus modes, which are a given, that is it.
Where's team battle? Where's survival mode? Where's training mode?
Where's that fun little side distraction mode that almost every Tekken game has?
You know, like Tekken Ball, Tekken Force, Fight Lab, Tekken Bowl, that Devil Within game from Tekken 5.
Hell, there's not even a tutorial mode!
Yeah, Tekken 7 introduces several new fighting mechanics, but it doesn't even properly teach you how to use them. Gotta get your ass on YouTube for that shit.
Okay, so with so many modes missing, then that must mean Namco put a lot of effort into the online modes, right? I mean, it's gotta be rock solid performance-wise, surely. Well, not at launch.
Now, it's gotten better, in fact I've had to rewrite this part of the review, but it's still pretty bad. For starters, it just takes forever to get to the next battle. You'll be stuck in this dark room practicing your moves for what can sometimes be minutes on end before your next bout. And often, when you do find an opponent, it'll just be like, psych, connection lost, fuck you. Now, admittedly it's nice you can practice between battles, but would it have killed Namco to allow you to pull up your move list here? Now again, online performance is getting better, but as of now, it's just okay.
So I have royally shat on this game so far, but Tekken fans will be pleased to know I saved the best for last.
Number 3. Say goodbye to your left thumb.
Seriously, it's buggered. But yeah, when you're actually playing the game, it's very good.
The fighting system really is absolutely top notch here. I dare say this is the best Tekken game yet when you look purely at how good the fighting feels. It's responsive, the hits have a nice weight to them. I mean, annihilating an enemy with Pulse Phoenix Smasher never gets old.
Yes, rock and roll! But to be fair, Tekken has always felt good to me. Bar Tekken 1 of course, so let's talk about what's new here.
First off, there are now special moves characters can pull off called Power Crushers. When you use one, it allows the move to continue through your opponent's attacks, so you can get hit as you use one, but your attack will still land. But you will still take the damage from what your opponent was doing. This is a neat addition because it serves as a nice little option for you if you're struggling to land an attack. At the risk of losing some health, it can actually turn momentum into your favour.
I'm a fan.
Another new feature regards combos, as they've been slightly more downplayed in Tekken 7.
Oh, and that's a good thing.
Because I wasn't a fan of how overbearing they were in Tag Tournament 2. Gone are bound attacks, enter screw attacks. Now both of these are used to aid with air combos, as they both knock your enemy to the ground, opening them up to attack. But the new screw attacks don't give you the huge window bound attacks did, nor do they aid with wall combos.
Which again is good, it puts more emphasis on normal on the ground fighting.
You'll no longer be trying to hit your opponent with a launching move every 2 seconds, and it makes the fighting system feel more akin to Tekken 6 as opposed to Tekken Tag Tournament 2.
Another new feature I really liked were these slow motion finishes.
When the two fighting characters land death blows at around the same time, The game slows down to show you who landed their attack first.
And this leads to some really cool nail-biting finishes. Though I think my personal favourite example of this was when I was playing as Paul, and I was fighting another Paul online. Take a look what happened. Yeah, not only did we double KO, but we double KO'd each other with the same move. Can't make that shit up.
I mean, these slow-mo moments don't happen a lot, but it makes the endings to a lot of matches pretty dang entertaining. I've been watching some of the pros play, and it's a lot of fun listening to the announcers' reactions when slow-mo activates.
It's not over! It's not over! Wow, out of the shooting star!
Honestly, all fighting games should use this from now on. Now, last but not least of the new gameplay tweaks is the Rage Drive.
When your character goes down to low health, they'll start shining red. This unlocks a powerful move that can do a lot of damage, and the less health you have, the more damage it will do. This makes the final moments of a battle feel very tense.
One wrong move and you could be done for. It's great.
And it doesn't feel cheap at all, as rage art moves can be blocked like any other move. And there's also something else your opponent could do with it. For when in the red, a specific character move can now be upgraded to a Rage Drive one. These turn you blue and offer up ways to maximize damage output, especially in combos. But you gotta be damn good at the game and know your character in and out to really maximize the effectiveness of these. And I really do like this new system. It's a lot of fun, it forces you to think strategically. I think long-time Tekken fans will really dig it.
So to sum up my thoughts on the battle system, I describe it in 2 words. Pure addiction.
With you always unlocking new items in the treasure mode, you'll be fighting battle after battle, and you will lose track of time. And when the online modes do work, you'll have a blast playing online. It's brutal as hell. I mean, I've been playing Tekken for well over a decade, and I only win about a third of my battles. But I know where I can improve, and the character roster offers plenty of choice and variety for a whole manner of playstyles. Are you a beginner and don't want to learn too complicated moves? Pick someone like Katarina or Paul.
Are you a Street Fighter guy and like those string of complicated diagonal input thingies? Go for Heihachi. Oh, well, the obvious choice. Or maybe you like guys with really long combos. In that case, go for Beck. Oh wait, he's not in this game, is he? Okay, well, maybe Brute Force is your thing. In that case, go for Marduk. Oh, wait, he's not in this game either. Okay, who the hell can I make a comparison to then? Ganryu. Bruce. Wang. Safina. Kunimitsu. June, Mukujin, Armor King, Predator Jack, Christy, Roger, Ogre, fucking gone? Yeah, there's a lot of characters missing here.
I mean, don't get me wrong, the roster is still more than big enough. I don't think everyone needed to be here. I don't think anyone's crying out for Sebastian the Butler to return. But there are indeed some notable exclusions, namely Julia and Lei. Yet Julia, or some sort of variation of her, has been in every Tekken game until now. And Lei's been in every one since Tekken 2. What the hell, why aren't these guys here?
Oh, and here's the weirdest one. Anna's not in this game. Why is that weird?
Well, when the PR agency that represents Namco here in the UK sent me a review copy of Tekken 7, I got this folder, and inside is a comic book. So I read it, and look who I immediately find.
Yeah, she's not in the game, but she's in the comic book the game came with? Why?
Now, yeah, it's obvious, all these missing characters are going to be rolled out eventually, providing you spent a further 50% of the game's retail price on a season pass. Now, this disappoints me, because Namco was so damn generous in Tag Tournament 2. Look at all these characters and look how they give out even more for absolutely free, with a new stage on top of that. I guess Namco realised how much money they were losing out on.
I'm cheesed, but I guess this is just how it's done these days.
I mean, the only way to stop developers from doing this is if every gamer in the world vows never to buy DLC again.
Yeah, I can dream.
Number 4. The best looking Tekken game yet. No, the asterisk.
So let's now talk graphics and shit.
Now Tekken 7 is rocking Unreal Engine 4, and let me just say, the game really does look good.
Providing you have a PC or a PS4 Pro, because on the base PS4 model, It's not very good.
Menus drop frames all the time, load times are admittedly a lot better than they were in Tekken 6, but still longer than desired.
And character models suffer from very noticeable video compression.
Honestly, I thought there was something wrong with the game at first, like the textures hadn't fully loaded or I had my TV accidentally set to output in standard def. But no, this is really how it looks. Now you do become accustomed to it and the game does at least have a stable frame rate, but when textures are this bad, I found myself wishing I could just play this game with Tekken 5 level graphics, cause at least then the textures would be sharp and I could even push to 60 FPS. Tekken debuts for the first time on PC and I can see why Namco have done that. I've also heard that online play is better there too, so if you got a decent gaming rig, bloody use it. Now the soundtrack is always worth taking a look at in a Tekken game. I mean, if you've watched my videos, you'll know that I use Tekken songs in them all the time.
Now I have mixed feelings on Tekken 7 soundtrack because on one hand, you got some serious kick-ass beats like this. Yeah, I'm gonna have to put some action scenes to that. So yeah, some great tracks. But as you play through the stages, you'll find very little in the way of variety.
It's a lot of electro and dubstep, and that's fine, but it gets old after a while. Thankfully though, Tekken Tunes returns.
Or a variation of it.
Yeah, the jukebox in Tekken 7 allows you to play songs from Tekken games of the past. Now, it's unfortunate you can't use your own custom songs, but this is through no fault of the developers. Apparently Sony don't allow it anymore.
For some reason.
Oh, and I should mention that the jukebox is exclusive to the PS4 version of the game.
So sorry if you want anything else. You guys on PC have got superior graphics, mod support, and free stable online play. I dare say that's a pretty fair trade-off.
Oh, and speaking of PS4 exclusive stuff, there is actually a VR mode here.
Yeah, VR. In a fighting game.
Don't follow.
Well, no, I can't properly review the VR mode here as I don't have one of those PlayStation headsets yet, but from what I've seen, you just play from the usual viewpoint, except now you can look around, and it's also limited to the practice mode, and to one stage.
Seems pretty tacked on to me, guys.
I mean, a VR mode in an FPS? That would make sense, but what the hell is there to gain from VR in a fighting game? Except sudden bouts of motion sickness.
Yeah, guys, don't fret about this shit. The future this in. So I think I've just about covered everything here. Let's conclude.
Tekken 7 is a terrific fighter.
And that's it.
It's so much fun to play, but it's so light on content.
Want to know how I know that?
Because this is the first game in my entire gaming history I've gotten all the trophies for.
I wasn't even trying.
There's a lack of modes, base PS4 textures are bad, there's many missing VIPs no doubt locked behind a paywall, the arcade mode is pointless, VR mode is tacked on, online play isn't the best, and the story mode is lackluster to say the least.
I'm sorry guys, I can't give Tekken 7 any higher than a 7. Though if online play does improve, push that up to an 8.
And I think it's a testament to how good the gameplay is that I can go that high based almost purely on that alone.
You see, video games aren't just games anymore. They're packages.
And for full RRP, this is a pretty empty package. Yes, you're getting the essentials here. The gameplay is fun and rewarding, it's an absolute blast to play, and this will be satisfactory for many.
But I'm gonna make a stand here and say, no Namco, you can do better than this.
Because I have been completely perplexed by the scores some publications have been giving this game. IGN, for example, gave it a 9.5.
What? What game were you guys playing? It's a fun game, but no.
Now true, Tekken 7 isn't the most barren fighting game out there content-wise. I mean, look at all those Capcom fighters. But you shouldn't say a worse game excuses the shortcomings of a better one. You should compare a game to its superiors, and NetherRealm have been doing a better job in my opinion. Their games have better campaigns and are just far more rich with content. Now, I will be playing more Tekken than Mortal Kombat because Tekken is simply more my thing, but I can't be biased, hence why I've given Tekken 7 a lower score than I did Mortal Kombat X.
Guys, if all you care about in fighting games is solid, entertaining gameplay, I'd definitely recommend Tekken 7. But if you're looking for something that's more complete, well-rounded package, either look elsewhere or wait for that inevitable Game of the Year edition. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.